Holy schmoes. In this podcast, I'm going to be talking about getting to Wakanda, things to do in Wakanda, traveling in Wakanda, and also how to fish Wakanda for both tigerfish and the sharp-toothed catfish. So let's get started. So, obviously, this is a parody. I do this every single year as an April Fool's thing. The original article I did on April Fool's is linked below. So that's where we're going to go off with on this. From there. So now let's get actually started in the piece itself. So you fly into Wakanda. No, you don't actually fly into Wakanda directly. You have to go into a neighboring country, and then you can transfer either flight or you can transfer a ground transportation, depending on what you want to go do, and then you end up in Wakanda. So you have to fly into something like Kenya or another similar country. You land, you're good to go. Now, from there, basically what you do is, so you've arrived, great. Find your room. Once you found a hotel room, once you found it, you're good to go. So you have your hotel room. So you're going to wake up the next morning, and other fun things you're going to do as a couple days of stuff. You can go do, or some fun little shops, like an outdoor market type deal, kind of like a Shook, something similar to that. They have a couple of those in Wakanda, and you can find cool stuff that you wouldn't be able to find anywhere else. Obviously, like vibranium style stuff. That's why people go there. Now, the other things you're going to be looking for is going to be the so the other things you go do, they have like on the outer ends of the countryside, they have like safaris and they have rhino riding and elephant riding. You can do those kind of things on the outskirts of the country, and all are fun activities. Definitely worthwhile to go do them. And then the other thing, the other thing is for anglers in particular. Some of those shops I was mentioning earlier are small tackle shops, and you could find things like vibranium quality hooks, stronger than any treble hook you'd ever find in the States, or any treble hook you find anywhere. So that's one of the cool things to go note about it. And then from there, you would also have other things, so like they'll make like rod blanks out of vibranium. They'll do all kinds of tackle that we normally would use out of vibranium. Only thing maybe it's not like the line, but you can't. I mean, if you make it thin enough, you could, but they don't do that. But they'll do like rod blanks. Just have in mind, just know what stuff you're buying, so that way you don't want to travel back with it if it's like too bulky or anything. Obvious stuff that just don't get like a one-piece rod that you're not going to be able to check back with you with anything secured. Although it could probably survive TSA if it's that strong. Or check-in bags. Excuse me. And so now we're going to talk about the actual fishing. So what to go do when you're fishing in Wakanda. So they have a couple of your key targets in Central Africa. They have your tigerfish. They have your different kinds of Central African catfish, like your sharp-toothed catfish, hence the thumbnail. So once you have those, what you're basically going to do is you're going to have a... so let's talk about your tiger fishing first. So your tigerfish targets are going to be topwaters. And the best thing that I found was a walking bait that was about a 4 or 5 inch walking bait, a good sized walking bait. And you're going to want some heavy braid to go with it because these things get powerful. Anyone who's targeted tigerfish will know this. They are strong fish. You're going to need 50, 65 pound braid, a pool cue of a bass rod, like the biggest flipping stick you have. And you're basically going to do dog walking. But don't worry about banging out your hooks because remember, you can get vibranium hooks. Top tier, you're not going to worry about banging those things out. Unless you have like an entire truck, that thing's not going to bend out. So, with that in mind, the reason why I said walking baits is when you fish a walking bait, and this is not just for a parody, this is actually when you're fishing for bass with a walking bait as well. When you fish that walking bait, it makes it on the surface of the water, and you burn it fast. So you're going to be doing twitch, 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 twitch. And for those of you, let me go back. For those of you who don't know what walking the dog is, it's basically where you take your rod, you cast your bait out, it's top water, they call it a walking bait, hits the water, and with the slack line, you twitch, and it makes it dart to the side. And you keep doing that really quickly, and it creates an S pattern on the water. So what that S pattern represents to something like a tigerfish is when they're feeding off something large like a snake, or a bass is feeding off something large like a snake, that to them is a big meal. So I did this at a camp one time where I was figuring out these fish were eating snakes on the top of the water, and that was because I got a lot of good grade fish. Some of them were like 5 pounds, northern strain on top water. So with that in mind, and in this area in specific, they have water snakes that have like a vibranium coating. So it's actually one of the better food sources these tigerfish have. So they're keen in on that better bite. They're keen on that better presentation. So if you can imitate those snakes, you're already there. You're good to go. Imitate those snakes, pitch to certain points that they'll be living, so like certain ambush points in the reeds, and in amongst the reeds where they may be ambushing stuff or waiting for like the snakes or whatever reptiles or whatever to fall down, and then that's part of it. You're good to go. That's your main tactic. You're gonna take that walking bait. You're gonna find the pockets where they're waiting in ambush for all their kinds of stuff, or they're waiting to snatch whatever's there. Imitate that snake, and you're good to go. So once you've done that, if you say you don't want to do you want to be someone different. You're not going to do the same tigerfish that everyone does when they go to Central Africa. You want to do something different. You want to be the next guy up. What do you want to go do? Sharp-tooth catfish are a lot of fun, and they're another good fish to go for. That's what the thumbnail is. And basically, what you're going to need for that is they'll sit in these little back coves, and where there's very little oxygen, and they have no problem just going up, getting a gulp of air, and going back down. So with that in mind, if you can that's something you can do from the shore. If you don't want to like pay for a guide or anything and go on the boat and fish for tigerfish, you can find a little back pond from the shore that's oxygen depleted, and they'll be living there. And they'll be the biggest thing living in those little places. And then some of these catfish can get big. So like if they're feeding off good sized stuff, because have in mind, the minerals basically determine everything else. So they're feeding off the juice, or there's certain plants that they're feeding off, or the bait fish are feeding off of, which is making them supersized. And then from there, the supersized bait is what's keening to the larger catfish in that area. They're the same species, but they just happen to be larger. So that being said, you're gonna want all kinds of. You're gonna want tackle. So you're gonna want tackle that's gonna be thicker and on the larger end. So we're talking. So normally, last time I talked about these catfish, I had the link below for that podcast. I talked about using maybe 20 and possibly 30-pound line. I would say now go to like at least 30, and then or going even to like a braid, like a 50-pound braid. So that way you have the line diameter match up with a proper like round bait casting reel that a lot of guys use for catfish. With that bait clicker, you're good to go. You could use for catfish. You could use anything: dog food, chicken liver. They really don't care. That's what I use. I just used dog food and it worked. And then so then from there, so that's gonna be your catfish. All right. I guess that is it. So if you like this kind of stuff, let me know. I'll do another style of fictional country travel this upcoming April Fools. If you like this kind of thing, subscribe, like, and make that comment saying that, yeah, I like this type of content. All right. Take care, guys.